Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Cash Flow Positive. I'm your host, Kenny Bedwell, and I am here with a special guest. Now, today we're going to be talking about how you can go from thinking beyond just I'm buying an Airbnb. What other types of businesses are out there? And what I wanted to do is bring somebody on who is literally doing that. Somebody who is going through and, not just doing short-term rentals, but we're working on other types of businesses that are relevant to short-term rentals that solve the key core issues that they deal with on a day-to-day basis with the operations of, operating a short-term rental property. So without further ado, straight from Louisville, hopefully I said that right, Louisville, Kentucky,
All right.
Tyler G. Tyler, tell us more about yourself.
Hey, so I am a full-time investor here in Louisville, Kentucky, based out of. Originally grew up Northeast Ohio, moved down here 10 years ago, chasing that W-2 job, CGB, exported grain. And with that, rolled the dice on myself after the first successful cash flowing STR. And so as soon as number two was in possession of keys, quit 4.5 years ago and went full time. With that, I've followed many mentors, most predominantly Bill Faith. Here most recently Rich Summers as well too for boutique hotels investing. And so with that journey just builds to currently at 7 here in Louisville area and 2 down in just north of Tampa, Florida. It's called Crystal River, Homosassa area. And now most recently, like I said, investing in hotels, motels, with a soon to be 23 key hotel in Branson, Missouri. And then also still growing the short-term rental portfolio, 3 more viral additional short-term single-family homes here. In addition to that, along the way, we've also grown vertically integrations on companies. And I'm also just a very hands-on doer. So other interesting companies that have helped me not only build the confidence to leave that W-2 job, financially wise, but 2 to for the most part self-fund all my down payments and renovations and furnishings up to this point. To where now I need to learn the new skill of private money because these motels are they just have a little extra 0 or 2 on the end of them along with renovations. So learning that skill next and just thinking creatively is what the current phase investing I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. So that first off, if anybody is looking to know what the definition of entrepreneur is, just go back and listen to what Tyler just said. All those different things. That is the definition of an entrepreneur right there. Tyler, you said something interesting that we need more definition of. You said multiple. I'm terrible.
Vertical integration.
Vertical integrations. That is such a fun. Vertical integrations. You got multiple. What does that mean?
Well, first of all, I haven't used that term since my useless degree at Ohio State University.
There we go.
Ohio State University. Yeah, go Bucks. But with that, I'm not very. I keep things very simple. And so, what entrepreneurship means to me is recognizing a need out there, and for the most part, right now, it's been only my need. So it's very easy to recognize if you just do a self-diagnosis of like your pain points. And recognizing that other companies are failing to provide that value for you. And so I tell everybody, I run shit shows, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear on here or whatnot. I try not to swear, but
we'll figure it out. So.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I tell everybody I run shit shows. I just run shit shows better than anybody else that I know, and that's why I have the companies I have. Yeah. So it's a journey. It keeps your life interesting every day.
So tell us.
I tell people the best because like everybody's like, oh, you work for yourself, so you're like self-employed. I'm like, yeah, and they're like, so you don't have a job? And I'm like, no, I have a job. Like, I tell everybody it's like the best job to have when you're like, working and making money. It's also the worst job to have working for yourself, making no money, and you have some of those days.
Okay, so. What are the other companies that you've built out that are tied into your short-term rental businesses?
So they're all tied in, and whether like my mentors want to argue with me how they're, I'm scattered and they're not tied in, they all serve a purpose, or else I wouldn't be putting attention to them. And so there are some things that you have to consider reevaluating all the time. Are they distracting you from your end goal? And with that, we are providing value through accommodations, unique accommodations on the real estate side. And so with that, that involves, first of all, finding the property, which you know all too well, and the challenges that comes with that. So we do some one-off consultant, or I should say it's me that does one-off consultant. I'm very blessed to have my God gift, a God sent gift is finding value in overlooked places. And so from that, there's other like talents that like derive from that, and numbers are being one of them. And obviously like being able to like see detail of like whether it comes to renovating properties and like being able to budget for that, or even just finding like location of like, just having that sixth sense. And so with that, finding properties. And then once you have them found, obviously most of the time people, I love sweat equity plays. That's my jam. Like anytime I can max things out, I do push the things to the limit. So most of the time that's going to come in a form of the house needing some kind of repair. So with that, renovation wise, and we started that, we've been helping, other homeowners, but we didn't really start honing in on it's faith renovation. So the signature stays is the accommodations. Faith renovations is the renovation piece. And our slogan is professionals built the Titanic, amateurs built the Ark, because we are not professional. And like heck, Don Dorn can tell you, like, in order to make deadlines, we'll do whatever it's needed, even if it's cutting tile at 3 a.m. Out with floodlights. We do what we need to do, that we deliver. And so with that, renovation and then cleaning. So once it's up and running, and actually even installs. So it's more or less the installs fall off the same labor as the renovation crew. It's just filling in schedules. But we do installs. We've actually assisted him on 2 installs already. And so with that, like we love to collaborate. If you guys have any business that you guys are even partaking in the Louisville Bourbon area, we're willing to travel about an hour and a half. And I have hungry, like, people that are just as eager as me to get, work. So with that, we have property management that we're just launching as well too, now that I have the cleaning piece figured out, after 7 years of struggling with trying to use the 5 of the best cleaners in the Louisville area, and essentially having to babysit their company for them because the cleaning was just so inconsistent. At times they would deliver streaks of good cleans, but it wasn't worth the hassle of having to worry when the next 4-star or 3-star reviews coming in, or just like constant turnover that you then have to more or less train their people for them. And it really opened my eyes when I invested in Frankfurt, just like you did, shortly after. And I show up well, first of all, the deep clean, and it's only an hour away. It's not that bad of a drive. And I actually was making that drive pretty frequently. And so when I hired out for the cleaning, I first asked the current company, or at that time, the current company that was servicing the Louisville portfolio, and was promised, hey, we can cover it. We got a team already there. The same old line. We'll get it inspected. It'll be inspected after every clean, da, 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 da. Everything you want to hear. And so with that, I, trusted that individual, that company, and come to find out, they ended up taking like 3 swings at just the deep clean alone, which should have been a red flag. But like, I kind of gave them grace because it was, heavy, like renovation. So dust, sawdust everywhere, lime, drywall, sheetrock dust everywhere. Like that stuff's hard to come out. So I gave them a little more grace, probably looking back more than I should have. And then after the 4 swings, we ended up, myself and the ex-girlfriend at the time, went in and had to spend like a half a day, or I should say maybe about 3 or 4 hours on like cleaning up even after them. And just like that frustration built. And even then I still gave them like a month of trying. and a month and a half ish. What broke the straw on the camel's back is I found out that they were subcontracting it out. And at first I was like, it is what it is. Cool. Like if she can't cover that base, she's still like herself. At least she's solving my problem, aka solving my problem. Like I'll leave it with her. It didn't come like very noticeably that I had to take immediate action. Like, yeah, like there was we never missed a 5-star because of cleaning. But what ended up happening is even the local company there was struggling to keep up with. It's a bigger property, it's 6-bed, 4-bath. It's not nowhere near as big as your property, but it's still for small companies. It's intimidating, especially when you're turning them over.
Yeah.
Same day turns. They got hours to do it. It's high pressure game.
Yeah.
And that is why like so many people, especially I think on the guest side, see it as like, man, why are they ripping me off? Charging me $300-$400 for cleaning. Like that's ridiculous. And like I used to be that same mentality until I've been on the flip side, on the host side. And first of all, it's hard to find companies that do it any cheaper. Like you have to hire it out. In order to scale, you have to hire it out. You can't keep doing it yourself. Yep. And then two is those right companies, they know their value. They know the value of a 5-star review, and they're gonna charge every bit of it. And they should earn it. Like if they're worth it, they should. And because anybody, any good host, especially yourself, can recognize that is the main gear. So like there's multiple gears turning in this whole system of being an excellent host. But without a good cleaner that is self-sufficient and worry-free, like it's hard to make any of it work. Would you agree with that?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I just, and I'm going a little in depth with that because that's what motivates me to create a company. When I break down the pain point and I actually start feeling it like emotionally, like, and I'm relating that because when I go in, whether it's me or the cleaning manager going out and getting more contracts, it's no longer me trying to sell them like, hey, come, with us because we can offer X, Y, and Z. No, I'm relating to that emotion of like worry, of like staying up at night. Like I don't wish that upon anybody. I want to relieve you of that stress. We have the team built to do that. And it took me 7 years of trying 5 different companies that claim that they were the best. And I know we are the best because like we're the best. It is what it is. At least in Louisville area, and we're expanding to Bourbon right now. We're right now committed to an hour and a half drive, just because we have to limit somehow. But with that, what became apparent, and believe me, I have enough going on. Like literally right now, I sleep an average of 4 hours a night just because like I'm trying to solve any other problems. Like, and it's not me physically doing like boots on the ground. Like, yeah, I go out and do that just for like relief of like office work because I hate getting tied down behind a computer every day, all day. But it is me like more or less staying up of like thinking I have to, I don't know, I guess it's a false mindset that I have to fix everything. But I use it to my advantage and I capitalize on it. So it's like, I monetize off it. American way. I'm American. So with that, I'm going to tell this very in-depth story because this is what caused me to create a company that almost physically, mentally broke me. I continue to go back to it because I'm like, I never want somebody to ever be in my shoes that day again. So I pull up to this. Well, first of all, thank God the turnover that I'm currently talking about had a 2-day turn. It wasn't the same day. And so with that, it became known to me from my inspector, who I have checks and balance. And so I have a handyman that does that's how we're set up. Our handyman outside is our inspector from inside. Yeah. Vice versa. It's a check and balance. And what I've learned is you can't make a good cleaner, a good pool keeper, a good hot tub keeper, a good grill keeper, or else they're gonna slack on the inside. And so like my thing is like keep things simple, keep people in their jam of what they love to do so they feel like they're not really working. And that's where they're gonna excel at. It's like the 1 + 1 = 3 kind of theory. And so with that, I have my inspector come and check it after the clean, and it's a normal clean. There's nothing special about it. Like I said, 2-day checkout or a window in between vacancy. And he notices, just like little tidy end things, like, dust here and there, nothing really major at all. But I was wanting to set the standard because like were already in my eyes slacking and wise and whatnot. And I was already getting concerned with like the second level of like it getting hired out, like second level of communication. Like, you know what I mean? And again, I want things simple. I want streamlined. I want my things fast, and I want it like clear. And so with that, I pull up to, or I communicate that to the actual company that I hired to do it. And what I assume they communicated to their people. Apparently, their people couldn't deliver, so they hired it out too to like just do this touch up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, and it's literally just a touch up. It's not even a full turnover. It's just like, hey, maybe go in for an hour and a half, and like fine tune it, and while it's empty, kind of thing. I kid you not. I asked like follow up, later that day if, hey, has it got done? Yes, it got done. That's what I was told by the company I hired. Yes, it got done. And I looked at the cameras and nobody was there. Nobody ever showed up. I'm like,
oh no.
Oh, okay. Oh, it gets worse. It gets real worse.
Oh wait, there's more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's more.
Yeah.
So they show up, and I'll like, again, I'm like branded this in my head because it's terrifying. I'm scarred for life. I'm trying to keep other people from getting scarred for life too, is what I'm getting at. And so with that, that's where I called it and said it's no go. We're done on Frankfurt. But I still gave them the grace of keeping my other Louisville portfolio, and because I wasn't like ready to like have to overnight fix all my cleaning issues. And so I for that particular property, I got a husband and wife team, just like I have down in Florida. They're freaking rock stars. I wish I could have a husband and wife team at every property. It just doesn't work in a city portfolio when like, especially we have even more turnovers, reservation turnovers, not employee turnovers here in Louisville. So it's just a lot to keep up with. And like, it has to have a team. It can't be a husband and wife actual show. It has to actually be a company or some kind of form of a company. And so with that, I gave her grace though, because she's given me grace in a lot of areas. And in the past 2 years I've been with her. And so with that, I understand like she's a hustler. She's trying to grow a new company. I'm trying to like give her an opportunity. But at the same time, like I can't afford, less than 5-star stays. And it's critical. Like it hits my bottom line. And so I can only give grace so much. So I told her, hey, chalk this up as a learning lesson. Go back to Louisville and figure out what you got to do to get these like, so there will be issues at any of my properties. And just FYI, like everything's on a hot burner, but especially the triplex, which is like my top performing property. It's the third producing property in Louisville for its size. And so with that, it's like my second pride and joy. And like it was a breakthrough for many reasons of my journey of, investing into bigger companies and like open up bigger opportunities. And so with that, I told her like, it's going to be under a magnifying glass, AKA like if I was her, if I'm a property owner, or a business owner, I would spend a significant amount of my time, like at least babysitting that one to like, you would think 3 weeks go by and it's just a crap show. It's a shit show. And I'm like, this is wild. And so I took that property from her, and at that time we had two very eager housekeepers that were willing to come on board and seeing the vision I seen. And it was more or less kind of a matter of time. At that time, I actually had it positioned to where I was intending to keep that cleaning company on the Indiana side, where most of my properties are in Louisville. And we were just going to keep the triplex in-house. And then any new properties I brought on, aka the 3 that I'm bringing on, she was going to have first dibs at that as a way for her to like learn her lessons, but also have an opportunity to grow her business. And eventually, it fizzled out. It like she, in a long story short, like most I think companies, she was struggling at like really finding the value of her employees and in empowering them. to where, one, monetize, but two, like they didn't care. They didn't have a purpose. They didn't have a shared vision. And I think she had the vision of like, but it was maybe for the wrong intentions of like wanting to have a cleaning company or, maybe try to be the best cleaning company, where our company is completely different than I would say probably most people run companies. And that's the way with everything. It's just, I'm a very unique person and I approach problems with simplicity that like people just overlook. And it's like, man, you guys really don't, but it's also comes natural to me. So that's where like, it's my God sent gift. I encourage people not to like, don't focus on like the simplicity of starting a business or simplicity of investing. Just don't focus on the simplicity of yourself. Like try to find what your God sent value or your God sent gift is. Mine's, value creation and overlooked places, and really hone in on that. And like, don't, there's plenty of people to follow. And like, don't idolize anybody, unless it's the exact life you want to live. Which, I mean, hopefully everybody only has one person that's for, and yeah, we killed them a couple thousand years ago. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Okay. So with the cleaning company, so obviously let's kind of summarize this and package it all together. So you had some problems, long story short, you had some problems with your cleaners. It sounds like they were subbing and the subs were subbing out. It was just a whole mess. And you came in and you said, look, in order for me in my current business to continue at the high standard that I have it at, I'm going to take it upon myself to solve this issue.
Yeah.
And it created a vertical way that's relevant to the business of the original business of solving a problem. You're solving a problem by creating a separate business to be able to do that.
Correct. And I think another point to bring on is no matter what you're struggling with, whether it's a marriage or a relationship or finances or whatnot, you got to first start with nobody's coming to save you. You're an adult. Like you got to like, even if you're a struggling business owner and there's a pain point that you figure is a pain or that you've identified, it's your responsibility, whether it's to find somebody else to like take care of it, but like it's your responsibility to recognize it and to fix it and to measure it and consistently manage it, because nobody else is going to. Well, I guess I should say I had that broken mindset that nobody else is going to care about things as much as I care about until Tony Robbins kind of helped with just even the entry level course, the whatever, I don't even remember what that was, but like fixing that broken mindset. They will, as long as they have an aligned mission, like a shared goal along the same mission.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And one thing I really like that you said too. So a lot of people listening to this, I'm gonna be frank, they're not gonna want to start cleaning companies.
Yeah,
like, it is what it is.
I don't not wish it. If there was any of these 8 that were gonna break me, it literally was this one, because like like, all right, everybody knows naturally, and not to be stereotypical, but women clean better. And like my 2 best cleaners are women, and they are actually Cubans. And I've opened this 2 months ago. We kicked this clean off. I have yet to meet them because I've been traveling so much, for one, but 2 is just when I'm here, like they're go. Like I can't even keep up with them. And so like I've been trying to meet them. I know, or I personally have met, or most of our cleaners of the 13 girls. But in this past 2 months, with that, like they must have like 6 sets of hands or something, because they turn on these things over so dang quick. It's ridiculous. And that's a whole nother opportunity that like applying simple ideas. So like identify, people are all bitching about, everybody's commenting, all the guests are commenting about checking in early. Cool. Like you can either bitch about it and join with the rest of the group, or you can monetize off it. So what we're actually doing, which is another reason, like I have to remind myself of like, hey, this is why we made the cleaning company, or like why I made the cleaning company, is because we're taking happy guests, which by the way, just mention my name, Tyler G, and you get hooked up. I don't even know. It's a free service anyway, so I guess I don't really understand what the hookup is. But just mention Tyler G and they'll get you express service maybe. Anywho, with that, they are they are the only company that I know that have figured out a way to where once a cleaner is done and that maintenance, who's also inspecting it done, or outdoor keeper, and then the maintenance team is all done with it, and they check off a box done, the guest gets an alert, and they will only get that alert if it's done, if it's ready before check-in. And then that alert, depending on how you have it set up, it says, hey, the house is ready. If you would like to check in an hour early, it's $10 or $20 or $30, whatever you set it to. If you want to check in 3 hours early, it's this amount, this amount, this amount. So it's then in the hands of the guest to see that value. Again, we're not charging any extra. I mean, they can still come at 4 o'clock when they want to check in. To us, we're providing more value to the guests. We're providing more value to our cleaners because they are incentivized to clean faster as long as they're not cutting corners. Everything gets inspected still. And then furthermore, the owner themselves get that reassurance that, hey, they no longer have to like, oh, is it going to be done by 4 o'clock? Like biting the nails. Cause I've been there. I've literally been there. And so it's just a simpler approach that everybody has turned this, this nonsense of guests annoying, because 9 out of 10 guests now are like, can I check in early? Can I check out late? Da, da, da. And I'm like, sweet, ask me that. Freaking ask me that now. And like changing that mindset is like what is in the same thing with this whole pricing thing. Like which first of all, it's a stupid calculation. Like nobody is taking more money out of your pocket on this Airbnb thing. And like no guests are getting charged anymore. It's just literally the structure of how it is. Like do the simple math, change your things. If you're even the one to do it, like I have a team that does that. Like, cool. Like they do it. I don't even have to worry about it. But with that, like it just sparked my eyes into like how many people are like obsessed about revenue and revenue management that like I am now actually, and this is like where I was talking about earlier of like maybe getting a little too ahead of our viewers. I'm going to be the first one that I know of that's going to take an approach, a very simple approach with, actually Noah, my son, just won at an absolute auction. Like he's the one that holds the bidder ticket up. Like I knew I had, because I'm but he just bought the oldest operating B&B rental in all of Kentucky. And I think it's one of the oldest of like 5 or 10 in the entire country. And so essentially it is priceless. Like I knew what my top dollar is, what I wanted to bid, which AKA I got like 100,000 less than that. And it's like another 150,000 below what it should appraise for. So like stupid instant equity without even doing anything. And so with that, I was struggling with like, so we're going to close on it. I think in 30 days or something like, or 28 days now. And so with that, we're struggling like, how do you, and like, we're talking about a property that is literally 240 years or 230 years old. So 20 years after our country was made. Like this is how crazy it is. And like all these untold stories of like literally 2 Derby horses winning horse came from it. Frank James, who is the brother of Jesse James, the older brother, which I never even knew about. Apparently nobody knows about him because he was the only one that escaped the law because he stayed at this B&B for a year. Abraham Lincoln stayed there for two weeks. It's just like filled with so much history. And it's like, what do I even, like, how do I make a pro forma? Like, what do I even charge people? And so this is going to be the wild thing. It's going to be the first B&B that I know that's going to be a priceless, literally a priceless B&B. It's going to, I'm going to apply just like a gas station, take a penny, leave a penny. If you leave what, no questions asked, you leave whatever you think is worth it to you to stay there. Plus, in the grand scheme of it, we're tying into, and scheme is a bad word, like the grand play of it. We're tying in 2 bigger world problems that we're solving. 1, homeless vets, 2, speechless kids. And then he has this, so his mom is a veteran. She's not homeless. She lives in an HOA. I could never live in an HOA. Like I'm too redneckish. But anyhow, with that, we I've been touched by I had a coworker that passed here of cancer, and I think it was coming anyways. You won't ever like the last time I talked to him was about a year ago, and you couldn't even read the room with him because that's the type of character he was, and he felt not to say he was homeless either. He wasn't, but that's what has brought me to the attention of this is there's so many veterans out there. Anyhow, we're going to create one of those and invest in either quadplexes or eightplexes to where there are small little habitats for vets that are not only struggling with housing, but are also struggling mentally, and so they don't feel comfortable going to the VA. They need to be with their people, but in a small dose.
Yeah.
And I think it's ridiculous. Not only that we can't support them, but we also are okay as a country with, I think it's like something crazy, like 80% of them have a suicide rate in like the first 10 years or something. And when I say like, I used to have a broken mindset that I couldn't do anything. Like, yeah, I can make a vote for somebody that may or may not have that as a priority on their agenda. No, like I need to like change my mindset that I literally, whether it's this property or like the movement that it may create, like it's a viral property itself. The purpose is viral. The way we're going to do it is viral. And so with that worst case scenario, say it flops on its face. And because I have too much trust in people and I believe that too many people are good. Bye, Madison. Thank you for today. Anyhow, with that, I full heartily believe, and I'm being led. I like to
1 second. Sorry, Tyler. Yeah, 1 second.
And so with that, the plan C is we just house 11 vets with that, and we make that 501(c)(3) purchase the property there. And
that's awesome, man. Sorry to cut you off there. I kind of want to wrap this up because we're about time, and I got something else coming up. But so there's a lot of interesting things going on that you're working on, and I think the point of this whole thing is, hey, look, you don't just have to buy, a single family home in STR and then sit in these problems. I've seen a lot of other individuals as well who have started businesses around solving key problems that they've dealt with in their own space. And I think, and with their property, whether it be design, we have some ladies who came out and started their own design firms because they just didn't like the process that was being delivered and the prices and things. And so it's fascinating to hear what you're doing and how you're expanding it beyond just, I'm going to buy a house and short-term rent it. And so anyway, I'm going to wrap up here because I do have to go. But Tyler, I appreciate you being on the show. It's really fascinating hearing all the things that you're doing, and appreciate the sacrifice, especially you're trying to do for the vets. I think that's very powerful and inspiring. So thank you so much for being on the show. And I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Cash Flow Positive.